Alright guys, today, is February 22nd, 21. Okay, welcome back from our storm. Alright, today we're talking about solving the cube root and cubic functions. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is the cubic functions. Okay, cubic functions. Alright. Okay, first thing you want to do, so these are our steps to solve. Okay, step 1, you want to isolate the cubic function. Isolate the cubic function, which for example would just be something like x cubed, or x cubed. Okay. Once you get it by itself, step 2 would be use cube root. Okay, use the cube root to solve. Alright, use the cube root to solve. Okay. So for our examples, okay, we got example 1. Alright, example 1, just x cubed equals 125. Okay. So your first step, right, is to isolate the cubic function. Okay. So this is already isolated by itself. So your x cubed is already isolated by itself, right? Because that's what we're trying to get by itself. Now you got to get the cube root of that. Cube root, whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. Okay. So the cube up here cancels out. So you're just left with x equals, okay, and then you take the cube root of 125. You can use decimals to figure that out. Okay. Cube root of 125 is just 5. Okay, and that's your answer for number 1. Okay. Number 2, got 2x cubed minus 1 equals negative 17. Okay, we're trying to get this by itself, the cube root by itself. The cubic function by itself. Okay, so we're trying to get x to the third by itself. So we got to move everything else around it. Alright, so we're going to move the 1 first, so we can add 1 to both sides. This comes down, so you have 2x cubed. That cancels out. Equals negative 16. Again, you're trying to get the cubic function by itself. Okay, so now what I can do is divide by 2. So I divide by 2, divided by 2, got x cubed equals negative 8. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. Okay, and now it's by itself, so we just take the cube root of it. Cube root of both sides. That cancels out, so we're just left with x equals the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. And that'll be your answer for number 2. Okay. Number 3, we have 4x plus 1 cubed equals negative 27. Alright, your cube root is this whole thing right here. And it is already by itself on one side. Okay? So since it's by itself already, you can take the cube root of it just to get rid of the cube. Okay? So you take the cube root for both sides. That cancels this out, so you're left with everything inside. So you have 4x plus 1 equals cube root of negative 27. Okay, gives you negative 3. Okay, now you got to solve for x. Get x by itself. So we're going to subtract 1. Okay, this drops down. So you're left with 4x equals negative 4. I get the x by itself. Divided by 4, you got x equals negative 1. That would be your answer for number 3.